Hi everyone, I am back. It's been 2 weeks since the Midwest Cross Stitchers retreat, and I just wanted to give an update since then. And I know a lot of you have, or those of you who went, have done videos already kind of showing some of the things that we received, so I won't be showing mine since I'm sure you've seen some of that already. But first, I want to start off by saying, Michelle, Farm Girl Stitcher, thank you very much. It's a lot of work to put those together, and it was amazing. I have to say, this is my first retreat that I've been to that didn't have a class. Most of the retreats, or I should say all the retreats I go to, have had some sort of instructor associated with the class. And so this was my first time to go without, and it was a very different experience. A great experience. The usual cast of characters that I'm used to, because, you know, we're all instructor stalkers, if you will, and I mean that in the most loving sense. You know, we all know each other, and it was a very different experience to go to the Midwest Cross Stitch Retreat and not know a majority of the people there. And it wasn't a bad thing. Actually, it was a very good thing. It was kind of interesting because when you first get there, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, everyone on Flosstube is actually a real person. They're not actors, they're real people. And to see them three-dimensionally, it was just, it was kind of a surreal experience. And to see them all in the same room, the people that I've been watching for quite some time, yeah, very different. And they are just like they are on their videos. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, should I go and introduce myself? It was a little nerve-wracking, but they're all super nice. So Anita and Holly, amazing, amazing women, just fantastic people. If I lived in Iowa, I would want my children educated by them. Just amazing women. Got to have further conversations with both of them, and you know, found a lot of things in common, which was great. And the same with others too. Michelle Garrett, I went to college in Hawaii, so it was great to talk to her about her Hawaiian experiences, and Pam and Steph, and talking to both of them, and a host of others too. It was just amazing. And of course, enabled abound. Tons of enablement that happened. I actually might get into rug hooking now, because they had a raffle, and Kathleen had made this wonderful rug hooked rug that was Halloween in nature, and I didn't win it, and now I might need to make my own. So I have my first rug hook kit coming. I told everyone I need a new hobby, like a hole in the head, but I think once I make this rug that she made, I'll be done. Of course I say that now. But the food was great, the location was great. I've been there before. Stitchville has their spring flings there, so I've been there before. Got a ton of steps in, so I love going there because, you know, we have a hobby that is not conducive to a lot of exercise. And both days I was there, I had 11,000 and 13,000 steps respectively. And that's just awesome. Like today, I feel like I did a lot of stuff. You know, I cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner, took my girls to swimming lessons, helped them all with baths. My husband just had surgery, so I helped him in the shower. And so I felt like I was going nonstop, and looking now, I got just over 5,000 steps in. So it's strange to go to retreat and get 13,000 steps in. So I must have been doing more talking and walking than stitching, I guess is what that says. I also had the opportunity to go to Michelle's farm and meet a lot of her goats and her cute little puppies. And Ivan, her dog, her male dog, was my favorite. He's just a love. So I could sit and pet him all day. But it was just wonderful to kind of go see where it all happens, and you know, very blessed to have had that experience. So a few of the things that I wanted to show, like I said, I won't show a lot of the stuff that people have probably already shown already, what was in gift bags and things like that. But some of the things that were unique to me, I will show. So my roommate, LaDonna, didn't know much about her, and I'll kind of share with you how ignorant I was. So into the retreat, we had exchanged some gifts. And one of the first things I had opened was this. So it was a sampling of memories. Oh, it's a little sideways. A sampling of memories scissor fob. And I love these things. I don't have this one. And I told her, I was like, oh my God, I love these. I have like 10 of them. And she's like, that's me. And I was like, what do you mean that's you? And she says, I'm sampling of memories. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? I mean, I was like stunned for 5 minutes. It's like, oh my God, my roommate is sampling of memories. Holy cow. And here I am. I went to one of my LNSs, specifically for needlepoint, and I showed her some of LaDonna's products, and so she ordered them, and here I am, you know, selling her stuff for her, and she's my roommate. Can you believe it? I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. So anyway, sampling of memories, people. Love her stuff. Couldn't believe it. Awesome. So I got that from LaDonna. I also got a candle that's specific to Virginia, where she's from. So that was nice. And she also picked me up one of these. So I have been avoiding collecting these. I am OCD about collecting. Obviously, my stash being one of those things, but I travel some or enough, and I've been avoiding collecting these mugs. So these are from Starbucks. I do have one from Minnesota, but I haven't been getting them from other states that I've been to. And she picked me up one from her state, and so now I might have to buy the ones from here on out when I go to different states. I mean, these are amazing. I don't know. I might have to get one. So she got me that. And she also, what a sweet, sweet person. She actually got both my girls 2 stuffed pandas. Lin, that's at their local zoo out there, she bought 2 of them each for my girls. So, I mean, how thoughtful was that? Yeah. So, incredible. There was also a drawing, or well, an exchange of smalls, if you will. So I put in a small, I've shown it on this video before. It was Blackbird Designs Autumn Song. It was a pillow, and I put that in the smalls. And so for my small, I got this. It's also a pillow. And isn't it great? I love all the details on there. So this is the small that I got. Very cool. So the other thing about retreat. So I went to Stitchville about an hour before I was supposed to be out at the retreat center to pick up a few things, actually specifically to stitch out there. And okay, this is going to be embarrassing. So I was looking for 2 patterns. 2 patterns that are in my stash. 2 patterns that I could not find. And so I went to Stitchville to go find them. And much to my disappointment, she didn't have them. One was called The Big Red Ship by Ink Circles. And I showed it to her, and she says, why don't I have this? And I said, I don't know, but I'm really sad. And she said, I need to have that. I said, yes, you do. And so she literally ordered it on her iPad on the spot from Hoffman's. But of course, that didn't help me then. And then I was telling someone else a story, and they said, didn't you lose another pattern, like from the primitive needle? It's like, well, yes, thank you for the salt in that wound. I did lose another pattern, but I did find that one. It just means I have too much stuff. So, at any rate, So what I did take with me, everyone else was working on cross stitch. I was not. It was the only thing that I had kitted up. And I got a lot of questions about it, actually. And so I'll answer some of the questions on here. I answered a lot of questions while I was sitting there. So I'm actually taking a class from another LNS here in town called Three Kittens Needle Arts. It's down in Mendota Heights, Minnesota. And it's called the Halloween Tree. And when I saw this stitch, I just had to stitch it. So here it is in its totality. We got this fabulous needle minder from the shop owner as our gift. So I'll kind of zoom in on that. How sparkly, and it matches that. But I got a lot of questions about this and needlepoint in general. So I thought, since it seemed to be such a hot question, I would answer frequently asked questions, let's say, on needlepoint. So this is a hand-painted canvas. A lot of, I think there's still some printed canvases, but I don't know if anyone's ever pointed one out to say that one's been just printed on there. Most of the ones that I've seen are all hand-painted, and that's why these cost so much, is because there is an artist who actually paints them based on what the designer, so someone designed this, and then they hire an artist to paint many of these. And then there are other instructors who are known for being very good at selecting stitches and floss and different fibers for these. And of course, this is very expensive. You know, it's funny, I had a couple chatelaine pieces from Martina Weber, and I remember their kits, especially with the silks, were like $250. I thought, oh my God, that's so expensive. I could never imagine. This alone, just the canvas, was about that. So this is not a cheap hobby. What it does is there's a lot of variety. It shows you a lot of different stitches, a lot of different fibers to work with, and it's never boring. I would say, though, that I usually need to be very awake to be doing this, because it takes somewhat, from at least for me, maybe not for others, a lot of concentration. So this for me came with an instruction manual, comes with what we're calling a stitch guide. That also costs money. Someone took the time to, you know, figure out what to stitch everything with. These are all different stitches. And so that costs money depending on the complexity of the piece and who actually did it. So there are some more famous instructors, if you will, that are more popular, and of course then demand more for their stitch guides. And then of course the specialty threads, which, you know, just from DMC to you know, the specialty fibers to the silks. I mean, there are different costs on the spectrum, and it's the same with needlework thread. So with everything going on right now in my life, so my husband just having his surgery and now being laid up, so I am now the working single mom is what I call myself. I haven't had a lot of time to stitch. So I took this with me to retreat because there are actually 3 classes that I'm taking for this. And I just got done with the first one before retreat. And so I tried to finish those things that we worked on in class. So, I don't need you to see me. Hopefully this will. So I did the moon and the stars and the candy corn. Some of that boot right there. So again, all the stars. I started working on that cat in the ball there, that pumpkin, and then, and then that red and black and gold candy cane. And sorry for the threads that are kind of in between. And did I show this pumpkin? I worked on that guy too. So I told people that I would share my status continuing on this as I got there. I want to kind of get the owl done. There's a class, our last one this Thursday, so I want to get the owl done because we're going to affix the eyes to him, and I want to get the stitching done underneath. So I'm going to try, today's Sunday, I'm going to try in the next 4 days to at least get the owl done. I know, small goals, but at any rate, that's what I've done on him. And so I want to go through all those questions with you, just because I got a lot of questions sitting there. I wasn't sure about bringing needlepoint to more of a cross stitch type retreat, but everyone was so curious and so just in awe of this. So I was kind of, I was glad I brought it. Still bummed though that I didn't get to work on the other projects that I wanted. And I also want to compare that to something else. So this was a while ago. So this is actually counted needlepoint. So, or needlework. What I just showed was not that. I had a lot of people ask me, oh, is that counted canvas? And it's not. This is. So this is a form of what's called Bargello. This was a Liz Morrow A&G class, all done remotely. So they sent you the kit and you just did it at home, and you could ask the designer questions if you had any, and you picked your own colors. And of course, me being a Halloween person, I had to go with the orange, and I went with a brown. I thought, you know, hey, if I stitch this again, I might go with like a blue, like a turquoise blue and a brown, which I think would be awesome. Of course, with all that there is to stitch in life, I don't think I'll stitch this again, to be honest. But I loved this. It was very, it didn't take a lot of thought. It was very rhythmic. I enjoyed, the stitches were all the same. And interestingly enough, so the accountant and me, I'm very detail oriented, and I actually found an error in the pattern. And I went back and forth with the designer, Liz, for a few emails. And I said, no, there's a mistake. And she's like, no, there isn't. And I was like, yeah, there is. And finally she's like, oh, there is. And it was very nice. She actually wanted me to test some of her other patterns for her for any errors that are there in case, before she put them out to the general public. And I just said, you know, at that point in my life, I just couldn't. There was just too much going on, but I appreciated the being asked, I guess. So, and this did actually win first place at the fair, so I was happy about that. But there it is. So this is counted right here. And you know, I wasn't sure when the framer wanted to frame it with this orange mat and this brown insert right here. I thought it was just too much. But, you know, I went with her suggestion, and my dad, who has since passed away, just loved this piece. And because he loves it, I love it. So, I mean, he really gushed over it. And, I mean, he was always amazed by my stitching, but not as much as he had gushed over that. And so this kind of holds a special place for me now. But at any rate, so that is counted. All right, so I should show you my other stitching, I suppose. I just finished this tonight, actually, and I made one of these tarts for LaDonna, my roommate, and I didn't have a chance to show it on the video before I gave it to her, but I made a different tart for a friend of mine who's celebrating a birthday, and I can show it now because she doesn't watch Flosstube. I know, shocking, right? So this is it. This is Olga's tart from Plum Street, I believe. And like I said, I just finished it tonight. I don't consider myself a finisher at all, but this is super easy. So I followed Vanna's finishing instructions on her blog. I will try and link that below in the comments so you have it. But this is Olga's tart from Plum Street. And it took a little bit longer to stitch than I thought it would. I picked up some of the variegated floss at Stitchville. Some of the colors she didn't have, so I just had to use DMC. I was really hoping for some variegation floss for this moon. And again, she didn't have that color, so I had to use DMC, but she did for the pumpkin. So that's a close-up. So I'm going to give this to a friend for her birthday. So I thought I better show this on this video before I give it away. But very easy to make. Pretty proud of myself. Because I don't do finishing. So this is as close to finishing as you'll see from me, people. But yeah, so that worked out well. And then, as far as plans for the other thing, I'm going to work on this. Like I said, my next class is on Thursday, so I really want to get this owl done, so I'm going to be working on that. I do have the big red ship from Ink Circles on order, so I'll probably start that up as my next thing, but we'll see. So I picked up a few other things from a haul perspective, so I'll show those real quick. So one is from Rosewood Manor. It's summer, and it comes with its own floss. Now, I don't know. I'd prefer that it not say summer on there, so I'm kind of thinking of just kind of cutting that off so it can be up all the time. And in that vein, I also got winter. And because of where winter is positioned, I might need something filler for that area. I don't know. And that also came with its floss. So I got that. These next two pieces. So I love Scarlet Letter a lot. And there were two of their patterns that I've loved more than the rest. And I've had my eye on for quite some time. And that is this one. A peacock, a unicorn, and a badger. Hopefully you can see that. I love this. So, so I picked that up. And I also picked up this other one. It's Elizabeth Masterson, 1838, a Scottish sampler. I've liked this one for quite some time. So I picked my two favorite Scarlet Letter patterns, and I just ordered them, finally. I've been wanting them for a while. So I put that order in. Then some new ones that people have also seen. So Field Mice Hollow by Brenda Gervais. Love it. The Cat in the Moon. And I saw this on Stitch Mania, I think it's Stitch Mania Cat Tricks. And this is from also Brenda. And I haven't been able to find this anywhere else except for on Brenda's site. So, Country Stitches. I also picked up this Barbara Anna Designs. What is it called? Witch Pumpkin. Love her. And then I also picked up, hold please, the Tiny Modernist. It's a Mermaid Life. I thought that was very cute. And Comfort Lighthouse by Carriage House Samplings. I just like that kind of like monochromatic, all that blue. I really like that. It's very peaceful. Love it. One of my favorite states to visit is the state of Maine. I used to do a lot of work there. One of my clients when I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers was out of Maine, and so it was, I always raised my hand. It was like a vacation. It was great. And then off of a site that's selling patterns, I got this wordplay for November from Brenda Gervais. Do you see a pattern with Brenda Gervais? And by the way, I think one of the Midwest cross retreats for next fall is with Brenda. So, of course, yes, please, I'm going for that. This next one is kind of out of the ordinary for me, but it was just too cute. I had to get it. So I'm not a Texan, I'm not a cowgirl, but I thought it was great. The Texas Nutcracker. Isn't that hilarious? I thought that was hilarious, so I had to get it. I love nutcrackers, but oh my gosh, look at that. I thought that was so funny. That'll be quick. I also got from Madame Chantilly Pumpkin Thieves. And I have the fabric on order for this. I'm going to do, it's kind of like a gray, cloudy, it's a Picture This Plus fabric, and the name escapes me at the moment, but yeah, I have a gray, cloudy fabric on order for this. So that's awesome. Some of the other ones, Couldn't Resist from Plum Street, Bazoff, look at that crow, love him. Crone on the Hill, look at those vultures. And then Eat Crow, which I think that's a vulture, so I'm not sure how we get that, but Eat Crow with a vulture, but I can work with it. And I also got Heartstrings Samplery Festive Little Fobs, the Harvest Edition. I've been loving this series. I don't know about the rest of you, but I mean, there are a couple that haven't intrigued me, but a lot of these have. So I have a lot of these that have come out. And it's very hard to remember which ones I actually got or not. So I always have to double check. All right. And then I picked up Away We Ride from Blackbird Designs. I think Steph showed this on her video, and I'm like, yep, sign me up. Got to have that one. So I have that. And another Madame Chantilly Halloween Mouses. I saw someone have this stitched. It was really super cute. So I had to have that. And then there was this. So I've seen some conversations about this. This is the 101 Alphabets from Rosewood Manor. And I mean, look at, let me see how many pages there are in this baby. 58. 58 pages in this sucker. Look at how cool that is. So I know that's hard. I used to not be a very big sampler person, and this is about as big as samplers as you can get. So just for the sheer challenge of this, I want to start it. Yeah. I'm kind of bummed though when it came from the shipping, so I like my books in pristine condition. It was kind of bent on the corner. And of course, people cannot have too many bags, and I noticed I'm missing one, but I got more of the So Much to Love bags. Look at how cool that is. And then I also got this one. Hopefully you can look at her. Bunch of attitude, love it. With the frog, and then the kind of the tropical material, the fabric to go along with it, including the, just love it. All right, so that's all I got. I wanted to do a quick video, 30 minutes, that's a long time, but thanks for watching, and to everyone I met at Midwest Cross Stitchers, you were all wonderful. I can't wait to see you all again, and I'd love to meet more of you. I mean, there were, gosh, 60 some people there, and it was a little intimidating. It was a lot of people, and a lot of people, like I said, that I didn't know, and I barely made a dent into talking to everyone and meeting people. So I hope for those of you who I didn't meet, we will meet again and I'd love to introduce myself, but at any rate, happy stitching. Hope you're all staying warm as we kind of transition into the winter season. We'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye.